Brazil is the largest country in South America. It is actually the fifth largest country in the world, and it's also one of the most populated nations in the world with over 200 million inhabitants. Brazil is actually so large that it has a border with almost every country in South America except from Chile and Ecuador. It has 4 time zones, and the time difference is especially big during sunset time across the country. The capital of Brazil is actually Brasilia, but a lot of people think that it's either Rio de Janeiro or Sao Paulo. 60% of the country is actually made of the Amazon rainforest, which unfortunately has become more and more deforested as it's being destroyed for plantation but also for the wood. Brazil is home to the second largest river in the world. The Amazon River flows through Brazil, and it is second after the Nile River in Africa. It is home to the Amazon River dolphin, the electric eel, and the green anaconda. Brazil is probably the #1 soccer country. Soccer is loved in Brazil and is actually called football in many nations outside of the United States. Brazil has won the FIFA World Cup 5 times, more than any other nation in the world, and they have some of the best soccer players: Pelé, Ronaldinho, and Neymar. The national dish of the country is called Feijoada. It is a stew made of black beans, pork, and beef stew. The national drink is actually coffee, but the national cocktail is caipirinha, which is made of cachaça, which is the sugarcane liquor, sugar, and lime. The biggest carnival in the world is held in March in Brazil, and almost 6 million people attend every year. Well, before the pandemic. Brazil is one of the most multicultural and diverse nations in the world. It was a Portugal colony started in 1500, which is the reason why they speak Portuguese, after Pedro Álvares Cabral reached Brazil during the Age of Discovery. If you remember, I talked about it a little bit in my video on Portugal. During that time, Portuguese sailors traveled the world to discover a new nation, but also to find routes to spices and any valuable commodity. Brazil stayed a Portugal colony until 1822. Today, it is classified as an emerging country, with its GDP being the 12th in the world. It is the largest producer of coffee. The Portugal influence is very strong in Brazil through the language, the architecture, and the culture. But there's also a heavy African influence and culture due to the large influx of slaves from Africa during the transatlantic slave trade. The demand for sugarcane exploded at some point during Portuguese colonization of Brazil, so they needed more labor and imported many slaves. It is thought that an approximate number of 3 million slaves were brought to Brazil from the 1500s to the 1800s. But some numbers go as high as 5 million, definitely way more than the United States. Today, it is estimated that 91 million Brazilians are of African descent. Salvador de Bahia is considered the blackest city outside of Africa. It is heavy in African culture, especially Yoruba culture. But race is a very complex subject in Brazil, as in opposition with the United States, there were not clear boundaries between races and a lot of people are mixed. So the term white and black as far as race is a concept that is completely different and is not as simple, and I put it in quote, as in the United States. I can go deeper into that subject and the history of race and blackness in Brazil. If you are interested, leave a comment below. To finish, here are a few unusual facts about Brazil. Brazilian prisoners are allowed to reduce their sentence by 4 days every time they read a book. That's a good way to reduce your sentence, I guess. Rio de Janeiro was once the capital of Portugal. Since Portugal was an empire at some point, with Brazil being part of the empire, they actually relocated their capital from Lisbon to Rio, which made Rio de Janeiro the only European capital outside of Europe. It is estimated that there are around 70 uncontacted tribes in Brazil. basically tribes that probably lives in the various parts of the Amazon forest that have never been in contact with the rest of Brazil. The largest amount of money ever stolen from a bank by robbers was actually $70 million, and that happened in August 2005 in Fortaleza, Brazil. They took the money from 5 containers of currency through a 256-foot tunnel dug by a gang of 10. That's it for today. If you have any question about Brazil or you want me to go deeper into anything, let me know below. Bye.